Hi, hello everyone. It is Mama Smash here with today's speed build, continuing on with my 12 Days of Simsmas series that I've been doing here on my channel. So today is day 5 of the 12 Days of Christmas, which means it's day 5 of the 12 Days of Simsmas. So if this is your first time tuning into this series, let me explain how it goes. So starting on the day of Christmas, with the first day of Christmas, I will be doing 12 speed builds for the 12 Days of Christmas on my channel. And each day will be built in a different world than all the other days. It will be a different lot type than all of the other days. Each day will have a specific item that represents that day, and it will go along with whatever the theme is for that day. So for instance, today is day 5, which means in the song 5 golden rings is the theme. And so every build will be with the theme of whatever the song would be for that day. And then the final catch is that every day of the challenge, I have to use at least one of the object from the previous days, just like the song continues to build on itself as it goes through the days. So today, being the 5th day of Simsmas, I am building in Sulani today, which is the world that came with island living, and I am building a beach lot type, which I believe you can only do in Sulani. That's the only place that has sand and water lots. So that's the only world that has beaches, but this is a beach lot type. And the theme for today is 5 golden rings along with the song. And so I went into the debug menu of the build and buy mode. So I got they're called live edit objects, which means we don't normally get to be able to place them down, but they're things that are used in different interactions. In this case, there are 5 golden rings, diamond rings, that your sim might use, in a case of them getting engaged or them having a wedding ceremony under an arch. Those will show up. Your sim just kind of pulls it out of nowhere, but opening the debug menu, you can use that. So that is the item that I'm using for the 5th day, and there are 5 of those on that table up there. And I decided that the theme of today, since it was 5 golden rings, I would build a beach side wedding area where your sims could come and get married. So there's a wedding arch just like you need. There'll end up being a place where if you want someone to play violin or guitar or whatever, there's a camera and stand there. There's some chairs, and then there'll even be a little kind of like reception type area with a place where you could put food and a dance floor and a bar with some tables as well. So this was the 5th day, which meant that I also had all of the other items to use. So the item from yesterday, the 4 calling birds poster set with the 4 different prints, I ended up putting on the side of the public bathroom that I had to put on the lot as part of the lot type. And how I did that was I actually built a wall and had it on the wall, and then moved the public restroom over to where the wall was so that it looked like the poster prints were hanging on that wall, and then deleted the original wall. And I have the move objects cheat on, which means that the painting prints still stayed there on the side and look like they're on the side of that, even though there's not a wall there supporting them realistically. So that's where that one is. And then for the 3 French hens, I will put the little French hen statue on the center of this kind of catering table. Who knows, maybe the caterer that is whoever's getting the food ready for this event is 3 French hen cafe from the other day. Who knows? So that is where the French hen statue, the little mother hen statue, is going today. Then the 2 turtle doves, I ended up putting them the wall sculpture on the top part of the wedding arch. So if you look closely, I again raised it up and put it on the arch. So they're silver this time, so they kind of blend into the white of the arch a little bit better. And so that's where that one is. And then the final thing from the first day, the pear trees are over. There's a couple of them in front of the public restroom. So yeah, it's getting a little bit more difficult to make sure that I can find a place for all of these different items, but it's been really fun to do some innovating and figure out, you know, where can I use these that are not just on a wall. Especially in this build, I have no walls that are built for this build. There is the public restroom that's just one of those public restrooms that you can take from the build and buy mode and put into your game so multiple people can use the restroom. And then there's this deck area. So there are no built walls, which meant that things like wall hangings and sculptures were a new challenge that I had to figure out where could they go. And I'm really happy with how I ended up using them. I also was trying to figure out how to do lighting for this build and end up using some fairy lights along with some columns from the debug menu, and really just kind of playing around with them. I used platforms on top of this deck over here, so it's rounded, and then there's another platform on top of that, so that would be where like the couple would be, and then there's that space like for cameras or whatever, and then there's a space for any guests that you have attending your wedding. So as you can see now, I'm working on those debug lantern holders, and it took a bit to try to find something that fit and that actually looked good. I ended up having to move the deck and then move it back, kind of like I did with the wall, to make it look quite right. And in the end, I think it looks kind of nice. It even has this kind of like pinkish color on it, on the column, which I was surprised to find, but it fit in with the wedding arch, so that's really good. And then I went and did some on the other side, and again was having trouble trying to figure out what I wanted. Lighting that was more bright than just those fairy lights, so trying to figure out what lighting was going to be there, and I ended up figuring it out, but it took a while. I do end up using posts, like columns, just from build mode, and then I raise up some lanterns. I size them up and then raise them up so that they're at the top of all of these columns, and then put a shelf on this middle one to look like that's where the fairy lights intersect in the center. So yeah, I enjoyed doing this build. It's also kind of fun to think about the fact, you know, it's snowing here in Chicago, and so to see this sand and sunny beach is kind of fun, because that's definitely not the world that I'm in right now, but it's fun to build it for sure, because having a wedding in the sun and sand like this, I'm sure, is really beautiful. So, and I did go and have a sim make like cake and a couple of appetizers and like salads and things like that, and then put it on the table so you could kind of see what that'll look like, and so I'll put those in at the end. So there's those lanterns that I put on top of the posts, and I also put some around on the tables and on the bar and things like that to add a little bit more light. It is not super bright at night, but it's bright enough that you should be able to see around and have, you know, your Sims dance and eat or whatever. But it's not super bright either. I didn't want to put like floodlights there, especially over on like the little dance floor area. And then there is a speaker as well on the post closest to the dance floor, so your Sims can dance the night away at the reception if that's what they'd like to do. I also, as part of the lot type, had to put in a mode of like water transportation, so there's like a canoe that actually fit kind of nicely with the rest of the decor. I was kind of surprised and thought that was kind of fun. You know, who knows, maybe your newlywed couple can sail away, and you never know. So that's also an option if your Sims really like the water. But yeah, so that is the basis for all of this build today. I did have a hard time with the lighting. I think it just had to do with it being outside and the lighting not quite catching right. But it ended up being bright enough to play in, and that's what really matters. So if you would like to play with this in your game, it'll be on my gallery on The Sims 4, which my ID there is MamaSmashRR, and all of my Simsmas builds will be under the hashtag MamaSmashSimsmas if you want to look up any of those. So that's about all I have for you today, and I hope you're all having a smashing day. Bye!